Is it too late to start a podcast? Are all the good podcasts taken? Is there just too much competition? Is it even worth for you to have a podcast where you catch up with your old friends, you talk to your referral sources, your vendors, your peers, your mentors? Well, I have that question sometimes, and I use AI to help answer. And as with any AI, we take this with a grain of salt. But I'm curious what you think about these numbers, right? And they say, well, there's three questions, right? Question number one is how many podcasts are there total? And that's like, okay, well, does that mean if there's like way too many, how can I even compete? The second question is how many of those podcasts are still active, still exist, still get updated every 90 days or so. And question number three is how many podcasts are brand new? So are you ready for this? This is breaking, hot off the press. You can see the raw, unadulterated, or maybe even adulterated AI results. Now, how many podcasts are there? Well, 4.8 million, and maybe it's 3.8 million, maybe it's 4.7 million. Even if we were to say, okay, 4 million podcasts. Whoa, that's a lot of podcasts. How can I even compete? Well, out of those 4 million or so, there's really only 600,000. So what do you figure? Like 1/8 of the podcasts are still even really active. So it's not really that there's 4 million podcasts, it's that there's 600,000 podcasts. And when you figure there's 2.6 million books being published every year worldwide, then you have a better chance of standing out with a podcast than you do standing out with a book. So that's a little interesting, right? But then you combine all this with how many new podcasts came out in the past year. And this number shocked me. 400,000 new podcasts. So you compare these numbers, right? We said, okay, there's 4 million podcasts, but there's really only 600,000 active. And out of 600,000, like so 2/3 are new podcasts. So the real lesson that I get here is that it's not about how much podcast competition there is, how many are out there, how many are new, and how many are still active and still putting out new episodes. So that's the real question for you, is not just, well, is it already taken, is it already crowded out? Like, most people just don't stick with it. And so if you are someone that can just keep putting out good podcast episodes and you can be consistent and prolific, then you'll stand out. And how do you come out with good quality? Well, I think personally that you have good conversations. You talk with interesting people who are from your past, who helped you, that you are connected with on LinkedIn and Facebook and social circles, and people who are in your industry. And that's where the quality comes from. But just really think about this. 600,000 podcasts, 400,000 are new. And if you would like my advice, my guidance, my assistance, you can find me in the description and contact me. My company is dfypodcast.com. We do the podcast backend so that way you can focus on the fun you're having on your podcast. You can focus on following up, building good relationships, and getting those very coveted referrals that will grow your business. Me and my team do the SEO, show notes, reels, graphics, posting, scheduling, post it to your website, YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, LinkedIn, X, Threads, any place where you want to post every single day. You can, and you should, and you will, if you have 20 minutes a week. So what if you just recorded one podcast episode per week and you invited someone on that is from your past, or one of your friends, or one of your coworkers, or one of your mentors, or your boss, or your employees, depending on who the heck you are, what your business is. You just have someone show up for 20 minutes. You ask them interesting questions, usually questions that they're not asked, right? Who really gets asked about themselves? Well, unless you're appearing on podcasts, you don't really get that. Most people don't care about you. Well, guess what? Now you can be a positive force for change in the world. You can be someone who cares about others. You can ask someone, what's your secret to success? How did you get started? How do you stand out? What makes you unique? How have you failed? And what have you learned from that? What are you working on? What has you excited about the future? What drives you crazy about what's happening in your industry? You just ask some of these types of questions, and the back and forth banter that comes about will be pretty dang decent. And then you end up using those best moments. I say that quantity leads to quality. So if you have a 20-minute conversation, you might have 4 or 5 really interesting 30 or 60-second nuggets that you can then use and post on Facebook and LinkedIn. And we've all seen these, right? You open up your social media app of choice, and there's that really tight moment where there is like the captions down below and they're kind of colored, and as there's like the white and green, and as the person's talking, the different words light up with that bright color, and it's something that you don't plan, you don't rehearse. It just comes about from the process of you having an interesting, active conversation. So have these conversations, have these 20-minute talks on video, on audio, and then let me and my team at Done For You Podcasting, dfypodcast.com, slice and dice, get to work, post it, schedule it, and that way you can be one of these people that always has something to say because you're having guests on your show and you make some posts and you tag the guests. And so now it uses their network of people to get more attention on you. Everybody wins. It's the talk show model, right? It's why all the Johnny Carson, the Jay Leno, the David Letterman, the Conan O'Brien, the Jimmy Fallon, etc. They have this sustainable content model that works really well and is a lot of fun for the rest of us to digest and learn and enjoy. And now it's your turn to have a podcast that educates people, that also entertains people, that gets attention on social media, and is also your way to consistently network. So let's talk about it. dfypodcast.com. I'm Robert Plank. Have fun on your upcoming podcast journey. Have yourself a wonderful day.